and we've been in the metals business for a long time, and we're just taking this opportunity to provide some content back to the marketplace. And we're looking forward to the opportunity to have this conversation with Nishant and talk about Maiden Forgings and see what Maiden Forgings has to offer to the marketplace. And as Jim mentioned, if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to enter them into the chat, and we'd love to answer any questions that you might have.
Yeah, and by the way, that is a good intro. I think we're live on all the channels right now. So, and the sound's coming in good. So the chat's being monitored. We're all ready to go. So Nishant, why don't you give us a little background on what you, how you got in the business and how Maiden Forgings got its start?
Thank you, guys. And well, the journey started almost 35 years back in 1989. My father started this business with manufacturing of carbon steel bright bars and wires. And the journey went off. We achieved a few milestones. And I joined the business back in 2011. So it has been a 12 years of journey for me so far. And post that, we tried reinventing it ourselves rather than just a family business to a level where, the businesses are more run by systems. And, we adopted a customer centric approach. So at that point of time, we were producing carbon steel bright bars and wires. But post that, looking after the customer's demand, like whatever our existing customers had, as well as the potential customers that we were meeting at that point of time. So whatever their demands were, we started producing those products. For example, after that in 2013, year 2013 and 14, we started through some R&D, through some new machineries, getting installed at our place. We started producing alloy steel bright bars and wires. And in 2016, we set up another plant wherein we start with the production of a stainless steel bars. Because, globally, stainless steel has been replacing carbon steel for now, say, 3 to 4 decades. But for India, the last decade has seen a huge growth, a tremendous growth in the stainless steel replacing the carbon steel bar. So we started with the production of stainless steel bars and perfecting the quality and, building a space for ourselves in the market. We started the third plant in 2018-19, wherein we started with the production of stainless steel wires. So this way, we reached around 6 product categories before COVID. And post-COVID, specifically, we researched the American market, and we found a huge scope for, producing wire collated nails and plastic strip nails. And for that, in 2021, we started, getting them manufactured on contractual basis from other manufacturers by supplying our own wires to them and getting it exported to the US market. We did a good business, but post that it took a slump because we were busy, installing our own plant, and we installed a Taiwanese plant in our facility for the production of pneumatic nails, that is wire and plastic both. So now we are ready with it, and from last 1 year we have been, into this business as well, and we are also looking forward to, produce multiple variety of nails, screws, and fasteners in the near future. So that has been the journey so far, and we have approximately right now, annual revenues of around 31 million dollars annually. And we recently, like last year, only last financial year, we got listed on the stock exchange in India. So that is Bombay Stock Exchange. And, post that, we re-strategized and realigned ourselves. And again, on a hunt for looking, towards the global market, specifically mentioning the US market and the European market. So that's pretty much about Maiden. And my journey with Maiden has been 12 years of journey. And as a the managing director of the company, like I have multiple times used the word, we always look forward to reinventing ourselves based on the customer's demand, supplying and providing what the customer currently requires. So be it in terms of quality, be it in terms of product innovation. So we are always, abiding by the customer centric approach. So that has been the guiding line of our company.
Yeah, the customer seems to be the driving force in a successful business, right?
Definitely.
Yeah,
True.
yeah.
I believe that.
Yeah. Nishant, one question that I get quite often when we speak of manufacturers is do you all produce your own raw materials, or how do you source out your uh, beginning product?
Are you melting? Are you melting? Is that what you're asking? Kind of the melt?
Yeah. Do you have your own melt shop?
No, we don't have our own melt shop.
Okay.
We are basically a processing center. In American terms, I would say processing center, which does the entire, we can, the melting shop basically plays with the chemical composition part of the steel, whereas we play with the mechanical properties part of the steel. We have each and every facility. We purchase our hot rolled rounds, hexagonals, squares, as well as the wire rods, all the long products from the steel mills. And most of our suppliers include, like the biggest names, the primary mills of India, for example, Tata, Jindal, etc. And we are procuring our materials from such primary mills, as well as at point to point, because like I said, that we are majorly a company that is customer centric. So
Yes.
if the customer specifically demands, we import from time to time from Germany, from South Korea. So we does that based on the demand of the customer. So we procure these materials, and post that, whatever processing is required, be it any kind of annealing, quenching, tempering, and then peeling, cold drawing, grinding, and then multiple kinds of processes that are required to make the materials ready for application, ready in terms of mechanical properties, be it the upper surface of the material, be it the hardness of the material, or the tensile strength, or any other, like changing the grain structure of the material. We can perform all these processes in-house, and that's what differentiates us from the competition in the industry, because we don't rely on any outside vendor for performing any of these processes, and that's why we are able to control the quality better,
Yes.
as well as control our costs, so as to ultimately provide the benefit to the customer in terms of pricing as well as the quality.
Well, that's obviously, as you stated, you have pre-qualified the sources of your raw material, but as you just indicated, some of the fine tuning of the products is really where the customer satisfaction comes into play with the customer specific needs. And that's great that you're able to do that all in-house and don't provide, or don't utilize outside sourcing for that. So that's great to know.
Now, are you producing to order on all your product lines, or do you have an inventory of commodity materials that you're buying, the melted materials, and setting them on your floor, and then doing production and putting some in inventory and shipping some to customers? If I follow,
it's mostly like because we have three major USPs. First and foremost is the range of products that we have in specific product lines. For example, let's say bright bars. So in that, we are producing from 3 millimeter dia up to 100 millimeter dia, which is one of the widest, and that too in stainless alloy and carbon steel, all kinds of steel and multiple grades. So what we usually do is first USP is that we have the widest range, and second USP is that we are able to do the most precise job. For example, again in bright bars, I will give one example. H8 tolerances that is required for pump shaft quality. We have an expertise in that, and most of our customer base comes from the category who want H8 tolerances. That is one of the closest tolerances possible. So second USP is the precision and the quality that we can supply without any defects, free from any defects. And the third USP is the delivery model. And coming back to your question, when we say delivery model, it's always an on-time delivery, despite the fact that we boast of being one of the fastest, the company having one of the fastest delivery mechanism across industry. For example, in carbon steel, we are able to produce a single container. I mean, from the date of receive of order up to delivery from our gate for export containers, we can deliver it within 15 to 20 days max.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
And
Very good.
in domestic, if someone demands me say 15 metric ton or 20 metric ton of a single size, we can supply that within 48 hours to 72 hours.
No.
That is like the fastest, one of the fastest in the industry. Similarly, for stainless steel, we are able to do it, say in X hour work, we can dispatch a container within 30 to 35 days. That is approximately 4 to 5 weeks. Whereas the competition, the industry standard is normally 2 months to 3 months, that is 60 to 90 days.
Right.
So we are much more faster than the industry. And the reason behind it is the model developed. We usually keep all the running sizes of raw materials, that is wire rods and hot rolled bars, in our inventory. And as and when order comes in, so we make it as per the requirement of the customer. So we don't require much of the procurement time of raw materials. We just need our processing time.
Right.
Because in our industry, the processors, the main time that is consumed is in the procurement of the materials. We keep the materials procured, but as and when the demand comes, we produce upon the instruction of all the specifications that are given by the customer. We produce the materials instantly based on that TDC, and we are good to go. And that is one of the reasons for the faster delivery model.
And I would assume too, using that process, that gives you a little more flexibility in producing the material.
Yes,
Instead of
definitely.
putting the finished product on the floor.
True.
Yeah.
True, because
right.
every customer, because in our industry, like I said, that there can be a customer might be comfortable with H9 tolerance. He demands H9 tolerance. Whereas if we keep the products ready, we might have produced in H8 tolerances, which involves utilizing higher costs.
Right.
So H9 customer won't, the person with requirement of H9 won't pay the cost for H8. So that's where the inventories get stuck. That's why we keep it in raw material form,
Right.
and as soon as the order is received, we just simply go with the
that makes sense.
production
Yeah.
process. Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the questions I have on that, you guys, if I remember from prior conversations, first of all, how many employees as a whole does Made in Forgings have?
Approximately around at current times, it is around 200 employees.
200, right? And if I remember correctly, most of those people have been there for quite a long time, right?
Yes, true.
Yeah.
And that is not just applicable for the employees, that is as well as applicable for the customers as well as the suppliers.
Right.
You've had customers that have been around since the beginning.
Yes, since the beginning, 1989, they have been with us.
Good. Now, the other question is how much of your product, let's go as a global perspective for your company, not each product line, because I know it'll vary, but the question is, how much is consumed in India and how much do you export as a whole? And then maybe a couple for product lines.
We truly started exporting in the year 2019, and then came the COVID, where it was all shut down. So practically, you can say we started with exports in 2021. And before that, because we were suppliers to most of the OEMs of auto manufacturers in India. So, and India has a huge consumption in terms of auto sector. So we started with the exports. Primarily, I started in 2013-14. That was for some other company that I started. For Maidens, we particularly, you can say practically started in 2021. And in these last years, approximately while growing the revenues overall, the last year's contribution has been around 10% approximately from exports markets, which we intend that looking at the current order book and the kind of customers that we have brought in from the majorly from European markets, US is yet to be, fully explored. So we should reach about 20 to 25% level of exports this year. And in terms of if we talk about 3 year to 5 year down the line kind of a plan, we intend that the ratios should be approximately 50-50.
Okay.
That is our target. Our goal is that 50% from the exports market and 50% from the domestic market. So that is our goal, and as well as we have global ambitions in terms of warehousing our products on our own in the US and European markets.
And your current capacity can substantiate that, or will you have to increase your capacity when you get to that point?
Actually, we are currently under the process. We have acquired a huge land just back in March itself, March 2024. So we have acquired that land, and our consolidation process is going on. And I think by October this year itself, the facilities will be operational.
Okay.
And so our capacity annually should be approximately 60,000 metric ton every year, annual capacity. So currently it's about 50,000 metric ton, 52,000. And we last year produced approximately 36,000 metric tons. So we were operating at almost 70% level. So we have spare capacities, as well as by October or November this year, our capacities would be increased. So yes, for you can say next 2 to 3 years, we have ample capacities to support these.
Good. So while we're on that topic, expansion, are there any other expansion plans you have going in the future? Do you have enough land?
Yes, like I said that, we would be going for screws, fasteners, and multiple B2C kind of products, which can be, which are our forward integration. And we can, penetrate the B2C market, because till date, we have been more into B2B business. And we want to explore the B2G side of the business as well as the B2C side of the business. By the way, recently only for Indian Defense, we got registered. Just like 15 days back, we got a certificate from one of the guns and shell factory in India. That is under the Ministry of Defense. So on 4th of April, we received our certificate. So now we are, you can say, an approved vendor for the India.
Great. That's wonderful.
So on your export markets, are you concentrating on Europe and US? Is that what you're concentrating on, or is there other markets that you're looking at as well?
Sorry?
South America, your export markets that you're in your growth, you're from 10% to 50% of your production you want to export. So
right.
Europe and US as the two primary markets for that, or do you want to go to South America or other markets as well?
No, we would love to be, completely global, going to the South American markets, as well as to the African markets. I, never say never. That is my belief. So that's why, but to start with, I find American markets North American markets as well as the European markets very lucrative. As well as, like I said, that I have done export for some other company, as an associate, you can say, or as a partner. back in 2013-14. So these were the two major markets where I was very active at that point of time. So somehow I feel that I know these markets. So, they are easy to go markets for me. So that is why, to begin with, we have started with these markets. But definitely, our ambitions, like I said, that we also want to, open up warehouses globally. So our ambitions are truly global, and we would love that we cover the entire globe.
Very good. Thank you.
If possible, I would like to go to Antarctica as well, if there are customers.
You get a little bit in there anyway. Huh?
Yeah.
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 Maybe not a warehouse.
It's an
but-
adventure.
Yeah.
It's an adventure. Yeah.
So, so let's move a little bit from the Maiden Forgings capacity and stuff into your visit to Dusseldorf last week. I'd love to hear a little
Right.
bit about your experience last week, and what you thought coming out of it, how what you thought going into it, and if any of your thoughts were changed coming out of it. What were your
Right.
experiences there with the Wire and Tube Show?
Definitely, it was a very, I would say, first word I would use is positive experience, because last year we were in San Antonio in November, like we were discussing, right? And thank you for being wonderful host. So we were in San Antonio, and we were discussing, at that time the entire market sentiment, especially in America, was of hope. The markets were not going good at that point of time, but it was, that it should pick up in another 2 or 3 months. So almost 4 or 5 months have passed, and on the show, it's one of the biggest fair of our industry, Wire and Tube Show, global fair. Okay, so I met people from multiple European nations, as well as from the North America, Mexico, Canada. So this time, 5 months have passed since I was in US. So this time, the overall sentiment was excellent. The current market situation, I saw a lot of flow of inquiries. Okay, and for me personally, like for Maiden personally, it seems that we should be able to convert these inquiries into orders soon. So I feel that the markets are opening up, and this year, by the end of this year, I think most of the businesses should do well and cover up for the whatever losses were made last year due to the market conditions. So the market conditions are expected to grow despite all these war-like situations going on. But during the exhibition, overall sentiment was quite positive and intriguing for me. Yes.
Good to hear.
That's encouraging. I'm glad to
Yeah.
hear that. Yeah, on the world market for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So for some reason, a question's coming up
Okay.
in my mind about the the Indian market versus the Chinese market. In the U.S. here, a lot of the supply over the years has been from the Chinese, and
True.
a few years back when we did the 232s, and changed up a little bit there, and the Indian suppliers have been making a bigger push the last couple of years from our perspective. And would you agree with that, Scott? I think.
Absolutely. Sure.
Yeah, and it
Yeah.
seems like they're becoming. But I also have read too that the Chinese now are looking at supplying a lot of material into the Indian market. So, what's your perspective on that? Do you see the Chinese coming into the Indian market, or are they staying away from that market?
No, they are. It's not like that. They are coming to the Indian market. They have always been there in the Indian market in huge quantities. There is no question about it. So, in fact, in recent years, let's say last 5 years, Indian government took many measures in terms of duties and taxes, so that the imports get reduced. That has been the case, but yet there is huge import from China in India. It has always been there, and it's there presently as well. But it depends product to product, firstly.
Yes.
And on top of that, Though, what I feel is just rather than the duties and taxes on the Chinese goods, uh, what more has been done is that, Indian industry itself has seen a drastic change in last 1 decade. In terms of, earlier we had to compete with China 5 years back or so. We had to always compete with China in terms of, pricing specifically. And now what's happening is that Indian industry has improved itself. I am accepting my own self. Like, we have started to focus more towards the quality side of product rather than competing with someone. We have started to focus more towards the quality aspect of the product, and what is the global requirement. We are working on that rather than just focusing on quantities and lowering the pricing. Our focus has also shifted as the entire entrepreneur community of India. I can't say 100%, but yes, at least you can say 80% of the businesses are transforming to be a quality global supplier. So we are like, there is, I don't know whether you are aware about it or not. Uh, there is a huge wave of make in India item within India itself. We have to be self-reliant. So that has been the goal. So most of the businesses are focusing, from the entire supply chain should be manufactured within India from the very basic, say, if I'm talking about steel industry, from the straight from the iron ore till the finished product that is being supplied to consumer, everything should be made in India. So that is the focus, and that is eventually declining the supplies of Chinese product in India. So that has been the case.
I know that many years ago, when China was really in their growth period, there was so many manufacturers being built in China, and it got to the point where there was an overcapacity in China. Do you see in India where there's a lot of capacity being added in India, or um, is there a lot of manufacturing and capacity being added in India itself?
See, if I have to be pessimistic, I would say that situation might arise if we keep on going like this, but that is still maybe 2 decades ahead.
Okay.
If
All right.
the
It hasn't
situation
hit
go like
yet.
that,
Okay. Yeah.
no, still we are under capacity. Still
Okay.
we are under capacity.
Oh,
Whatever is going on, still the demand is higher than what we are supplying. Uh,
that's okay with
Only
you
thing
though. That's okay with you though, right?
yes, it's obviously being a manufacturer or producer, it's always good to
Yes.
have a over demand. But
Yes.
that being said, uh, what is hampering the demand flow currently is the volatility in the markets, and that is globally. The
Mhm.
price will one day go up, then another day it falls drastically. So that is kind of challenge at the moment. Rest
Yeah.
everything, if we talk about the overall demand, that's fine. That is
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah. Well, I like the fact that you're focusing on the quality and the service and the product, not just trying to sell a product at a price.
Correct.
You have that value, and that's very good to hear.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
because quality, quality can be if you have to remake it, and especially in an export market, you get products that's been shipped overseas.
Not just export market, I believe in every kind of
Yes.
market, because like I said, that we have customers from back from 1989. Our first customer is still intact with us. So I think the reason behind it is that you can only build such long-term relationships if you are supplying what is required, and
Right.
if you are not able to do it, it might make you sell your product for once or twice and maybe maximum price. But if you need your business to grow, you need to retain your oldest and all your customers, as well as add on new ones, and then the positive word of mouth starts spreading, and then the marketing costs reduce, in fact, because you are able to sell your materials only based on references. Then also your market grows. So if you are focusing on value addition and when I talk about value addition, obviously, you are focusing on the quality, service, everything. So you are providing a value package to the customer. And I think today the global market is all about that. Whosoever is able to deliver value, they are growing. You can name the biggest brands, be it Amazon, be it anyone, they are giving some value, and that is the reason.
That's right. Yeah. And as you want to increase your export market, that makes it a much more saleable product to people because they can, you stand behind your product, it's going to be good quality. You're not just selling at a price and looking for that one-time order. You're looking to develop long-term commitments with customers.
True. Very much true.
Yep.
And I like the fact, one of the things I've seen is we've been in the business a long time, and we've seen the people who everybody somewhere along the way is going to make one little mistake of some type, somehow, somewhere. And it's how they react to that mistake and how they make it correct with the people is what I see. So if you do make a mistake, do you just say, oh, forget it? Or do you come in and change your procedures and talk about it and understand it and let the customer know that you've made some changes and make it right for them?
Yeah, and you stand behind your product. That's an important factor.
In fact, from this, I remember that, like I said, we started exporting in 2021, and we started with, let's say, currently, till now, we have dealt with 4 or 5 big customers only. Okay. And all 4 or 5 of them, be it few take suppliers like say twice or thrice a year, but more of them take every month kind of a thing. All of them have been associated with us on a regular basis once they were onboarded by us, and they are doing business continuously with us. Each of them have complained once. Okay, I mean, like we have supplied them more than say 30-35 deliveries in these 3 years tenure, and we have received their complaint once in their entire lifespan with us. Okay. And the response to their, complaints was such that they became one of our most loyal customers.
Sure.
They know that we are standing behind, we are backing our product fully. So obviously we gave some penalty whenever there was a complaint from anyone. Once I remember, I air shipped the replacement for them at my cost, and I first sent the material and then recalled the defective material. That was the case. This was with Israel. So in fact, I have saved their email. Like they sent me a very prompt thank you note, a long one, that we have seen numerous companies, but such kind of response we haven't seen for it was just a 4 metric ton LCL kind of an order, not a huge quantity. For that also, I provided them with the replacement because, I maybe say I made a loss of around $5,000 or $6,000 on that entire thing because of the replacement and everything, or maybe more, 7,000. But that feedback email that they sent me, as well as the relationship and the image that I built, that I think $7,000 was a very cheap price for buying that much.
Agreed. Yeah, agreed. Yeah. The long-term payback on that's going to be much more than that, I'm sure. Yeah. Yeah, that's great.
Well, so you guys have any other questions, or because there's nothing coming in on the questions. I haven't had any questions pop in here yet. So I know we can, Nishant, how do people get hold of you? What's the best way to get hold of you?
Sorry.
What is the best way for somebody watching this to get a hold of you if they want to talk to you?
Well,
Well,
the best way is I'm very much available on LinkedIn, Twitter, as well as my email ID. I think I will just, tell it's ng@madeinforgings.in. So
And
email, LinkedIn, Twitter, everything
Yeah.
is there. Yeah.
your LinkedIn is Nishant Garg, Garg.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes. True.
Okay. Well,
I
So
can connect.
Nishant
certainly
has
if,
made in Forgings.
yeah. And certainly if anybody doesn't have that information and wants to get a hold of Jim or myself, you can reach us
Definitely.
at
Yeah, we'll
Scott
get you in touch with
Glenn
them.
at steelrep.com or Jim Glenn at steelrep.com. That's our email addresses. And then, of course, we're on LinkedIn and all that kind of good stuff as well.
Right. I think I'm Jim Glenn III the third. I think that's what I'm listed as on LinkedIn, but so we're with
Yeah.
Sunbelt Steel too. You can Jim Glenn Sunbelt Steel, and Sunbelt is 2 words. If you
Right.
look it up that way too, it's pretty easy to find that way. And we're
Okay.
steelrep.com too. That's all our information's on steelrep.com.
Yeah,
So you
exactly.
can just go there and figure it out from there. So any final parting words? I thank you very much for coming on and staying up late here to converse with us here in American time. I know it's
No, it's it was, I was waiting for this, you can say. So I'm not at all sleepy, so I am in fact excited. So, and I think we had a great conversation over here, and it was purely a pleasure.
Okay, well, we appreciate you taking the time. Look
Thank you.
forward to talking to you again soon. And if
Yeah.
anybody has any questions, reach out to us and let us know how we can assist you. And from that, I will just call it a day or call it a night. Have
Happy
a great
Friday.
evening.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Happy Friday.
Thanks, Nishant.
Thank you. Thank
All
you.
right. We'll
Thank
be
you
in
for
touch.
being the good.
See you. Bye bye.
Yeah. Thank
Bye.
you.